protests in Douala. Up next, a sneak peek.
Assistance movement has Maurice Kamto pleading for assistance located to Douala for proper care, but her joy has turned to sadness. And then we zoom in on the last journey for Biki singer Aijo Mamadu. He died last September 20 and will be laid to rest Saturday in his native Nangaiboko. Those were our headlines. Stay on for developments.
Tests against quarry operators. According to the demonstrators, the operators have failed to rescue. Here's Ndi Morin. Cameroon is known as Lanfales, speaking to pressmen and women this afternoon in the capital Yaoundé. Kamto expressed concerns over what he termed government's indifference as well as the country's disaster management strategies. Beatrice Ngamo reports from Yaoundé.
Maurice Kamto finds it very hard to digest the inhumane nature of the ruling CPDM vis-à-vis the Dschang cliff landslide, where souls perish and people are abandoned to suffer and bear their pains without comfort.
They dared to do it. To abandon dozens of compatriots whom they had left trapped by the landslides at the Sancho Cliff by Dschang.
The loss of human lives, he said, would have been spared as soon as the first landslide occurred that morning. The action was to close all the three access through the cliff. Melong for vehicles from Douala or Bafang, at Sancho for cars going towards Dschang or Melong, and the way leading to Dschang town.
But in their chronic incompetence and thoroughness, the various people in charge did the opposite of what needed to be done to save human lives. The latest news is that there are still vehicles and people on the cliff where further landslides could occur as we speak.
The CRM scribe is calling on the government as a matter of urgency to evacuate the entire affected area of the cliff. Kamto could not stop from putting forward this question.
Where is the President of the Republic, Head of State, Chief of the Army, Mr. Paul Biya? If since he's returned to the country,
the different tragedies hitting the many parts of the country were listed, all of which, he says, received not the slightest emotion, empathy, and human warmth. Question on CRM complaints against the Constitutional Council and election issues, Maurice Kamto promised to clarify issues during another rendezvous, and that, he said, will be very soon.
And 3 days after those deadly landslides, rescue workers say they are certain more victims will be found as the search operations continue. Meantime, relatives continue waiting in anguish for the remains of their loved ones, uncertain whether they will be found dead or alive. Elsewhere, experts from the University of Dschang are sounding the alarm expected. Now let's move on to something else. A parliamentary committee has raised concerns about safety standards at Cameroon state-owned enterprises, calling for urgent improvements to prevent future disasters. The MP's concerns were voiced during a visit to a cement factory in Douala this Friday. Their areas of focus were, amongst others, the recent fire outburst at the National Oil Refinery in Limbe, an incident that has so far cost the government hundreds of billions of CFA francs. The committee, also responsible for overseeing the financial health of these enterprises, discussed issues relating to safety protocols, insurance coverage, workforce well-being, and corporate social responsibility.
We equally came to look at the social responsibilities of this company, whether they are actually doing what they should be doing to the hosting communities, to the Cameroonians as a whole. And of course, we are very satisfied after listening to several beautiful exposés by the Director General, his collaborators. If we have to move to 2035, as is the objective of this nation, cement is an instrument that you cannot avoid. And we also came to realize that with competition that has emerged in the cement industry, you would like to know that cement occupied a dominant position before. And with other operators coming into the scene, the situation is not the same.
That was Senator Chafa Isaac, member of the Parliamentary Committee for Banking, Insurance and Monetary Policy, speaking to our very own Gladys Ambo. And now this week, we've been shining the spotlight on the pathetic state of roads across Cameroon and the far-reaching consequences thereof. Tonight, experts argue that if urgent action is not taken in terms of regular monitoring and respecting the standards for construction, the situation will only get worse. Here's Gladys Sambo once again.
Cameroon's roads infrastructure is in a dire state. Experts describe the country's network of roads connecting major cities as riddled with potholes.
My opinion on the roads in Cameroon is quite negative. Almost all roads connecting the different cities of our country are in a state of very advanced despair. Maintenance of these roads is virtually non-existent because authorities in charge of roadworks don't lift a finger to remedy this situation.
The civil engineer argues that the issue is not limited to minor maintenance failures, but affects the structural integrity of major roads. He says these roads are dangerously narrow and the lack of repair has made them hazardous for travel.
The durability of a well-constructed road should last between 10 and 20 years if maintained properly. If we maintain these roads regularly, it can last for more than 20 years. But this kind of proactive maintenance is rare. To improve road quality, the civil engineer, Mwafo Patrick, insists that the construction companies need to follow stringent standards. He stresses the importance of thorough oversight by project managers to ensure that these standards are upheld. To maintain roads effectively, we need to regularly resurface them to ensure smooth traffic flow, renew horizontal road markings, clear vegetation obstructing signs, and promptly repair potholes and other damage caused by animals or other means to keep roads in good condition. In my opinion, the companies responsible for project management should act as gendarmes so that the contracting companies can do their work as prescribed in the specifications. With infrastructure being a linchpin of economic growth, many citizens hope that authorities will quickly address these pressing issues.
Let's move on to something else now, because on October 16, 29-year-old Chinda Melissa gave birth to triplets in Kongsamba. But quickly, her joy has turned into sadness, and that's because with the transfer of those triplets to the Lakentini Hospital in Douala for proper medical care, Melissa says she can no longer foot the mounting medical bills and is asking for assistance. Yes, D. Maureen.
Chinda Melissa, a mother of 6, faced an immense challenge with her 4th pregnancy. After 4 previous births, this was her most difficult experience. Yet, in October, Melissa gave birth to triplets at the Kongsamba Regional Hospital. Births due to a lack of incubators. Her newborns couldn't receive adequate care.
Une facture qui était de 500 000. Et nous avons, la famille a cotisé, tout le monde a cotisé. Et nous sommes sortis.
The seamstress from Buddha, who lives with her partner, Mark Imoma Maxeline, a 33-year-old NAO technician from the Sanaga Maritime Division, discovered early in her pregnancy that she was expecting triplets. Determined, the couple took every step to prepare, though medical and material needs for triplets were overwhelming.
On a prescrit le lait aux enfants parce que le lait maternel seulement est insuffisant pour les 3 enfants.
As her delivery neared, doctors informed her that a cesarean section would be required. However, after their birth, Melissa's 3 newborns were sent to Douala's Lankentini Hospital for specialized care. The cost proved prohibitive, forcing the couple to return to Kongsamba, where the babies remains without adequate medical supervision due to financial constraints.
Mon petit salaire que j'ai maintenant, c'est 50 000, parce qu'il fallait prendre un point pour que nous puissions sortir avec les enfants. Nous demandons de nous venir en aide.
Now at home, Chinda Melissa and Mark Imoma Maxeline are appealing to the public for assistance. They hope for support to ensure their babies receive the care they need.
If you're just tuning in, this is the news, 6:15 p.m. news on Canal International. We're broadcasting live from our studios in Douala. Now, former Nigerian President Professor Yemi Osinbajo is in Cameroon, where he's expected to deliver a keynote address on legal practices and investments in sub-Saharan Africa, opportunities and challenges. That's the theme. Professor Osinbajo touched down this evening at the Douala International Airport, and he comes at the invitation of the Douala Anglophone Lawyers Association, whose members welcomed him in their masses at the airport. Let's now listen to Professor Yemi Osinbajo on the reason that for his presence in Cameroon. He was speaking to our reporter Dschang Henry Atembe soon after his arrival at the Douala International Airport.
I think it's an opportunity for us to interact about some of the global and local challenges of legal practice and trade and investment in Africa. I'm looking forward to it because we'll be able to share experiences. Of course, I come from Nigeria. Our jurisdiction in Nigeria is essentially common law. Cameroon has the distinct advantage of both the civil and common law jurisdictions. The more important thing is that the challenges to trade and investment are the same, and some of the challenges to legal practice, especially in Africa, are much the same. So I think that we'll be looking at what are the possible solutions, what are the possible issues that we can jointly find solutions to.
Now, let's wrap it up on a rather sad note because Biki singer Ijo Mamadou, who passed away on September 20, began his final journey Thursday with the removal of his remains from the morgue of the Yaoundé General Hospital. His burial is set for this Saturday, November 9th, in his native Nanga Eboko, also known as the White Lion or Lion Blanc. Mamadou died at the Yaoundé University Teaching Hospital after a lengthy battle with illness. Born Meva Magloire Martin on July 28, 1962 in Nanga Eboko, he had been in a critical condition for several weeks prior to his death. In a recent interview shortly before his passing, Mamadou frowned at the public's indifference towards artists, claiming that Cameroonians prefer to show love to their artists when they are dead rather than when they are alive. Nanga Eboko. Immense thanks once again for the privilege of your company. We will come back on Monday, but before then, don't you go away. Matthew Fangwa and his guests will be diving into the sports world in Cameroon. That's on the debrief right after us. Bye-bye.